So hi on the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
A Throwback Thursday, recorded on a Thursday, posted on a Monday.
All right.
We may have taken several weeks off. Okay.
So much has happened.
Yes. You'll be happy to know that we don't bulk record these and that we actually do one at a time. Hence the oh shit, fuck, 2 weeks off magically.
Yeah,
but
we're a little behind.
Yeah, we're back to the regularly scheduled programming. Glory got sick.
Hella. It was like curled up in a ball, sweating, like bad sick for like a solid week. It was bad.
Yeah, she showed up to do interviews and record the review we're about to record 2 weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, no, not gonna happen. No, I see this going really badly. If this day goes any longer than it already has.
Yeah. And that was like on my worst day. That was like, because I texted you on Wednesday and I was like, I don't feel so good.
So yeah, we're here. Later than expected. This series is going to go a couple weeks later than we wanted, but it is what it is. We're back to the regularly scheduled programming, like I said, continuing our Sleeping with Sirens discography deep dive review, chatting about the 2013 album Feel today. This is like the first record in Sleeping with Sirens discography for me that I spent a decent chunk of time with. When I was getting into the band.
That is not at all what I expected. I'm gonna be so real. Like that, I'm out of my depth now. So please continue. Okay.
Because is this record, when you compare it to the first two albums, as good as those records? Absolutely not.
No.
This record, in every sense of the word, is weaker than those first two records, but it's just such a fun listen because it is kind of mindless in a sense. Like, I feel like they were having a good time recording this one. They didn't take it too seriously, which they maybe should have taken it a little bit more seriously, considering the status that the band was at, especially after that second record. Following up with this is tough. But don't worry, they recovered with Madness a year later. Shout out that record. But I really,
and then it went right back down.
Yeah, I really enjoy this album because I do think it's a fun listen. I have like this weird fucking core memory with this record where I guess like I was having midterms, like probably my sophomore year of high school, around the time that I was getting into this band, and like I was using songs off of this record to hype myself up before I would go back to school to take another midterm. This is such a core memory. Like, a couple of the songs, the more hype songs like Here We Go and The Best There Ever Was, to really amp myself up for these tests, because my school would allow you to leave after a certain amount of time and come home in between your midterms. So I would come home, I would race through them, do the minimum time limit that you had to be there, and then I would have like an hour and some change at home before my next midterm. And I guess I use this record to amp myself up. The feature list is also absolutely insane and stacked. Even looking at it fucking 12 years later, which I can't believe this record's 12 years old. Like, obviously all of these are massive names even now, but back then, like, getting Franz from Attila and Matty Mullins from Memphis Mayfire, both of those artists were ginormous back then, and they're still, they still have their cred now. I mean, I feel like Memphis Mayfire is having a resurgence. MGK on the record, he's always been a force to be reckoned with. He was big back then. I'd argue he's probably bigger now, but he was still big back then. So that's just like the craziest thing to me listening through this record, is just the features. And they work so well for the record because all of these artists kind of existed within the scene and still do, but like one of my favorite songs on the record is "Congratulations" because I love Maddie Mullins. I love Memphis Mayfire. I like the way that that song opens with the voicemail,
I fucking love that.
and then gets into that kick-ass fucking drum beat. And then Maddie comes in later on in the song, and you know that song's basically just a flex, which kind of encapsulates what this record's talking about. I feel like, and the where this record's coming from lyrically, I think that song kind of embodies the album, which is why it's nowhere near up there with the first two albums. I love the Franz from Attila feature, the best there ever was. Alone is good as well. I'll Take You There with Shaylee Borgett is phenomenal as well. Great feature picks across the board, which is definitely one of the standouts for the record. I like Here We Go. That song's very catchy. Free Now, the way it opens with Feel, Deja Vu, These Things I've Done. Basically, like,
love this record.
I love this record. I can sit here and say wholeheartedly that this album does not compare to the first two records at all. No. But I absolutely love this record because it's such an easy, fun listen for me. I genuinely have a good time every time I listen to this record, and it's been so long since I've revisited this album, and I was trying to like formulate an opinion because I've listened to this record so much just as a listener, and then trying to formulate like a quote unquote review opinion that isn't just album good. So I spent a little bit of time with it, and basically just what I came away with is what I said. I wanted to be maybe a little bit more insightful, but I just have fun listening to this record every time I do. Like this would be, I guess, a pick-me-up album for me, and I just think it fucking rips.
You know what? Hell yeah. I can agree with you on the fact it's like just a fun record, but just listening to this, it is like the most nothing record I've ever listened to. It is like so bland. It doesn't stick out. It doesn't give me anything. It just feels like they just put out a record to put out a record. I can understand kind of like that. It sounds like they had fun while they were making it. Well, a little bit. Yeah, I could hear that. But it's also like, to me it just feels like there's no substance to it. There's nothing I was able to take from it and go, oh yeah, they made progress. This was a step forward in their discography. I feel like their discography would still be completely the same if this did not exist. Like this didn't impact themselves sonically or era wise or anything that is like important to them as a band. I feel like this is like just a filler record. Granted, I think there are a lot of good tracks on here. As you mentioned the Maddie Mullins feature, I fucking loved Congratulations. I did enjoy the Franz feature. I did like The Best There Ever Was. I wasn't the biggest fan of the MGK feature, and I was really like I was actually looking forward to listening to that one because I know MGK from this era is different from the one now, and also this is kind of like when he was teetering the line of, to me it felt a little bit more authentic when he was teetering the line of rap and still being in the alternative scene. Um, I thought it was just fine, but again, it wasn't my favorite. I did like Low. I liked that song. And I also liked the opener Feel, which is also the title track. I thought those songs were good. So it's like I am able to pick apart a couple of tracks that I'm like, these did fuck. And I liked these tracks a lot. But honestly, like I did not know this album existed before we reviewed it. I've never heard of it before. I've never heard any of these tracks off of it before. I guess they didn't have like a big track off of this record, and for the last couple records, and then the ones after this, they've always had like one big track. But with this one, it's like it seems like everyone just kind of like moved on from it and just like doesn't. It's like the forgotten child. Except you. You're the one person. You're all the 6 million streams on here. So it's just like personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Only because I feel like it didn't leave an impact on me after listening to it, and I feel like it didn't leave an impact on their genre. It didn't leave an impact on their progression as a band, so I feel like it's just kind of irrelevant. I don't know. It doesn't like with ears to see and eyes to hear, let's cheers to this, and then madness immediately after feel. It's like if they removed feel, it would have been the craziest 3 album run ever, you know? It just feels like feel was like the little speed bump for them to get over to get to madness. But it's like I feel like this is the most nothing record I've ever listened to. It's insane. I don't know. That's my review. I don't have the memories associated with it though. I'm sure if I did listen to this, like when I was getting into alternative, I'd be like, dude, this is the fucking best record ever. But this was the first time I listened to it. And especially after Let's Cheers to This, my brain was like, what the fuck happened to them? What is this? Um, so that's my review.
Shout out Feel by Sleeping with Sirens. That's my review.
Okay, all right. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, those are our thoughts on Sleeping with Sirens' 2013 album Feel. As we said at the beginning, we're continuing to dive into their discography. Got a few more records to go. So subscribe to us here on YouTube. It's the only place that we post these throwback reviews. It also helps us out a ton if you do subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram. It's Good Noise Podcast. Facebook is Good Noise Pod. TikTok is Good Noise Podcast. All your streaming services are all Good Noise Podcast. And Patreon is patreon.com/Good Noise Podcast. Other than that, I've been Shane.
I've been Glory.
And we've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.